What experiences would you be genuinely proud of having? Asking yourself this question can create so much clarity on what you want to do with your life, what you want to be doing in your day to day. What experiences do you want to expose yourself to? There's so many things we can expose ourselves to grow ourselves, to be able to grow into who we want to become. Some people, it's an experience of raising a child. For others, it's the experience of going to the military. For me, for some reason, it was the experience of getting into firefighting and going through all that. Another experience that I really want to expose myself to is having spoken to hundreds of groups of people, hundreds of schools, hundreds of companies where I share my gift or a cultivated gift of public speaking and being able to help people in that way, be able to market information, uh, give people valuable information. I actually enjoy that. And the idea of me having gone through like hundreds of those and who I will be at the end of it, like how much skill I would have built to go through all that from all the experience, like that's motivating because I'm like, wow, like I will learn so much. I'll learn so much about storytelling. I'll learn so much about pacing. I will learn so much about just what makes people tick, what people respond to. Another example for me is having worked with 1,000 different people or 1,000 sessions. I already have a few hundred sessions under my belt, uh, and noticing like, wow, like how much better I've gotten in life coaching from having, hundreds of hours of sessions already. And it's like, wow, like the amount I've learned about people and how people grow and how people think and how people change and how they have challenges with change. Like, it's like, man, like, what if I had like another 1,000 hours or another 1,000 people under my belt, another 1,000 clients that I've worked with and guided through uh, whatever they need to grow through. And for me, that's a very inspiring idea, having exposed myself to that much experience. Or what if I have the experience of having a strong Kriya Yoga habit every single day for 10 years, right? And having that dedication and who I will become and how much I will be, like how much I will change, and how much I'll experience the difference in my consciousness and who I will become if I do a heavy metal detox and that clarity of consciousness will come online, and who will I become if I spend 5,000 hours studying all the things I want to be studying with consciousness and psychology and metaphysics and epistemology, you name it. I want to be able to study that, and I have this whole uh, belt system just to help me track that. Right now I'm at over 400. I'm probably at about 420 hours of total tracked time just on my studying, and that's like studying that's like outside of an institution. So if I go to school and study formally, that doesn't count. It has to be like reading a book or studying a course that is of my own choosing, right? And it's um, outside of a formal system. So like when I studied IPEC, I probably put about 500 hours of studying time just in that, and I didn't count that at all towards my my system there. So, anyways, going back to you, what is it for you that you'll be most mm, proud of actually doing? Like, what experiences do you want to really expose yourself to? I mentioned or having a child, raising a child. What if it's just the experience of finishing school? Maybe uh, you haven't, maybe there's a certain degree that you're like, you know what, let me just get that degree. Like the actual experience of that. I know someone who's like has their master's and they're like in their 60s and they're like, I think I actually want to go back to school to go and get my doctorate. And it's just because to want that experience, they actually enjoy that process of going to school. Or how about just, the experience of doing stand-up comedy? You know, maybe you've fantasized about being the guy up there that can do that because like, wow, that's confidence, right? And what if you could do that? And then what if you did like 50 of those, right? You did 50 stand-up sets. Imagine who you'd become and how funny you'd get and how good at writing jokes you would get. That would be phenomenal. Uh, Notice that for yourself if that's what you want. What skill do you really want to build? Maybe it's getting a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Is that an experience that you want? Do you want to have that, do you want to become that person that has shown up on the mat like every day for hours, and working towards being a black belt? What is that for you? What experiences do you really want to expose yourself to? Maybe it's getting good at surfing. Maybe it's getting mastery on playing the guitar. Maybe it's getting good at singing. And maybe it's getting so good at singing that you sing on a stage. And you're like, yeah, like why not? Like having to expose myself to practicing singing, for days and days and weeks and months and years, right? Like for hours per day. Or, putting in the time. That's what I'm trying to say. And how that would feel. It's like, yeah, I did that. Or maybe it's dancing. Maybe you want to go and really execute a choreographed routine. Maybe you want to actually construct a choreographed routine and get people together to dance your choreographed routine. And maybe you do this 100 times. Like, who will you become after doing that? Maybe it's hiking every single mountain in your province, or hiking 100 mountains, or going ice climbing, right? Some physical feats. Maybe it's running that marathon. That's a very popular one. And it's cool. It's like, cool, I did that. And like how much you learn about disciplining yourself to do that. Maybe it's learning how to achieve certain states of consciousness. And what are you going to do to get there? Maybe it's facing that fear of skydiving. And not only that, what if you crushed it? Instead of facing your fear of skydiving, you skydive 50 times. What if? Who would you become by the end of that? Maybe it's really getting an amazing relationship with someone, right? Getting into a beautiful, intimate relationship. Or maybe it's learning kind of like who you actually want to date. Maybe you haven't dated as much as you'd like, right? And so maybe you need to go on 50 dates, 100 dates, right? And however you need to line that up, but to actually go through the effort of lining that up and going on those dates to figure out, who jives with you, what chemistry do you have, and, what kind of people, finding out the chemistry with that stuff. Having that experience. Maybe it's getting really good at talking to people or talking to women, right? Whatever it is. So let's say you're a single man, heterosexual, and you want to get really good at talking to women. So it's like, okay, have it such that you imagine who you'd be if you've approached 1,000 women, right? Like how much that would change you. I mean, to even become the kind of person that just talks to people. Oftentimes, a root solution to changing an issue of being single when you don't want to be as a man is to actually rewire yourself and to rewire your life into a more social lifestyle such that people will just come into your life and you're naturally conversing. But if you're not naturally conversing, that's not going to happen. And if you're not naturally conversing, these skills of socialization are not going to be built. So imagine if you were very intentional about the experiences of socialization that you want to create for yourself. Maybe you want to create events and put on events. Maybe you want to organize events where you get like a DJ and do this, and and then you put something together. Maybe you want to have that experience of being an event planner. And whatever it is for you. Maybe it's hobbies, right? Knitting, um, any form of craftsmanship, right? Woodworking, uh, metallurgy, right? Uh, any metal fabrication. Like, notice, first of all, why are you drawn to that kind of stuff, right? What is it about that? What is it about it that fascinates you there? And imagine if you did like 100 of them or 1,000 of them, depending on the thing, and who you'd become after that experience, and how you'd be like, yeah, like I did that. Like, I really worked my consciousness through those events, through those experiences, and the wisdom that you would get. For me, this whole idea of what experiences do I want to expose myself to, this is one of the most motivating ideas for me personally. I'm thinking like, yeah, like if I was able to do, because like for me, I want to become very much like a Wayne Dyer kind of figure. I want to be able to speak. I want to be able to counsel. I want to be able to write, right? So Wayne Dyer, he spoke a lot. He did podcasts. He did in-person speaking, a lot of speaking engagements. He did loads of book writing. He had lots of bestseller books, self-help books. And he had loads and loads of clients that he was counseling. I'm like, yeah, like I would want to actually live that lifestyle. That lifestyle is appealing for me. It reminds me as well as the lifestyle of Laird Hamilton. Laird Hamilton is a guy that, he's in his 50s, 60s, and he's just doing this paddle boarding, and he's doing like his underwater working out and stuff like that. And there's a story of Don Wildman and like how the dude was like banging iron every day, like just ride the bike, doing the weights, like till the day he died. And he had a business, and he was running a business, and like he was going like full tilt. And that kind of engagement with life is something that completely I envy. I almost like I'm jealous of. I'm like inspired by. Like, it's like, wow, that's amazing. Or I look at the project that Leo Gira has created with his YouTube channel, actualize.org, and of course the website as well. And just that catalog of insights for some of the deepest questions about life and reality. It's like, and then you like consume that content and you're like, wow, like what the hell? Your mind is completely shifted. Like, you're no longer, you can't take the paint out of the water now. It's completely changed your paradigm. And you can see in so many new ways, and you're like, what the heck? You're like waking up. And to be able to create like a guide like that, so a set of information like that, that's inspiring to me. It's like, man, like what would you have to expose yourself to actually be able to construct that? And I look at, projects like Everybody Dies But Not Everybody Lives by Prince EA, and that poetry and that motivational speech, and like, wow, like what would it be like to actually create that, to be able to create a message like that? I look at a man named Sam Dema, which I believe is the same age as me, and he is like a motivational speaker for for schools, and it's amazing to see. Like, I was like, dude's literally living the life I want to live, and I'm like, whoa, like what would I have to do, to like to become that? What experiences would I have to expose myself to be able to speak like that? I looked at Sean Stevenson, the way he speaks, the way he engages you with story. I'm like, wow, like what do I need to do to train to get that? So look at people you look up to and notice, like what do I need to expose myself to become like that? Really get curious about like what's the meat that makes the sausage? What's the hard stuff to do? What's the painful stuff to do that you have to expose yourself to? What's the truth of creating that level of mastery? What experiences do you need to expose yourself to? And if you can't see already here on this channel, one experience, this is happening in action through me speaking like this, is me speaking on topics like this and engaging with topics, engaging with ideas is one thing for myself. Like, imagine who I'm going to be when I have spoken about 1,000 topics. I've already done 500. 250 is public, another 200 is private. Like, just and I noticed just how much even this process of speaking right now has clarified my mind. It has improved my speaking ability. And like, yeah, I'm plateauing in certain areas and I want to train those out 100%. And I notice as I know a topic more, there is better speech. Like a topic like this, like in most of my topics are just one sentence. And then I just speak from inspiration from that. And that's it. Like I just speak on one idea. To be able to speak on one idea for, 10, 20, 30 minutes. At first was like impossible. Now it's like, all right. But I also want to be able to speak not for also just the length, but I want to be able to speak with a level of conciseness where I'm not dragging on too long. So anyways, wrapping up, what is it for you? What do you want to experience in your life? Make that list. And when you make that list, comment down below. What's your list? With that, thanks for watching. I appreciate you being here. See you in the next one.